My name is Melanie. Thank you so much for joining me here at YogaRenew for this Yoga for Beginners session. Today we're going to be focused on our foundation, meaning we're going to be focused on our hands and on our feet. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start in a comfortable seat. If you look at the breath and awareness class, I talked a little bit more about the seat and how to set it up, but just in case you didn't watch it or in case you don't know, what I suggest doing is having some things beneath your hips to lift your hips up a little bit so that your legs can relax down. So currently below me, I have 2 blankets that are folded up on top of one another. You can grab a blanket or 2, fold them up, stack them on top of one another. Maybe you grab 2 or 3 towels. If you have a pillow, you can use that as well. You can have yoga blocks nearby as well for your practice today. And then we'll go ahead and get started. You can cross your feet at the ankles. If there's another seat that works a little bit better for you, you can take that seat. We're just going to start by focusing on our breath and really honing in our attention. Let's allow the hands to relax down. And today what I'd like you to do is have your hands facing up, okay? So palms facing up, okay? Try to relax your feet and your legs down towards the floor, okay? Notice where they've all ended up. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel your hands on your thighs. And sit up nice and tall and gently close your eyes. Let's first start by taking a deep breath in through your nose. And then breathe it out through the mouth. One more just like that. Breathe in through your nose. And breathe out through the mouth. Now you can keep your mouth closed, just breathe in and out. Notice your breath. Notice your breath in. I am breathing in. Notice your breath out. I am breathing out. Let's add a count to our breath. We'll breathe in for 4 and breathe out for 4. As you start to advance through your practice, you can begin to lengthen the inhales and the exhales, thereby expanding your breath capacity. For today, we're going to stick with the counts of 4. So let's start by taking a cleansing breath. Breathe in, open the mouth, sigh it out. Now breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. Breathe out. Just allow your breath to come in and out nice and deep and steady. And as you breathe, I want you to really notice your hands and your feet. Bring your attention to your feet. Notice how they rest on the floor. Can you bring your attention to your toes? The first big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. Feel the front of your foot, the middle of your foot, and the heel of your foot. And now notice your hands. Notice how your hands rest on your thighs. Feel your palms as they face the sky. Notice your fingers, your thumb, your pointer finger, your middle finger, your ring finger, and your pinky finger. Are the fingers straight? Are they curled? Just notice. As you bring your attention to your feet and your hands, perhaps you feel a heightened sense of awareness there. Maybe warmth, maybe tingling, maybe energy. Maybe you have another word that's coming to mind or another feeling that you're experiencing. Let's start to bow the chin towards the heart and just begin to open up the eyes. And then as you open up the eyes, let's once again go ahead and switch the crossing of your legs. Okay, we did that in the breath and awareness video, again, just noticing the difference. So now you'll notice which foot is in front and how this seat feels. Let's bring the hands together, interlace your hands together. Let's take the right thumb in front to start. Notice how the fingers sort of wrap around the opposite hand and just start to make some circles with your wrists, around and around and around. So again, today we'll primarily be focused with the hands and the feet at our foundation. Switch the direction. Generally, as biped human beings, our feet are our most common foundation. Now, switch the interlace so that the left thumb is in front. Rotate. But in yoga, our hands become a really strong foundation as well as our head sometimes. Reverse the direction. If our foundation isn't strong, the rest of the pose is a little less supported. Then go ahead and just release your hands, all right? Now from here, bring your hands on the floor in front of you, come on out to a tabletop. So that's why today we're just gonna be taking a lot of attention and a lot of care with the hands and feet so that you know how to set them up. And these setups and these tips will support you in your practice throughout your life and throughout your practice, okay? So now what I'd like you to do is place your hands onto the floor, okay? Now I want you to place your hands beneath your shoulders, and I'm gonna give you a little bit stronger of a direction, okay? So what I want you to do here is take your elbows onto the ground, okay? So you're gonna take your forearms onto the floor, and then bend your elbows and grab either elbow, okay? So your right hand should be really gripping around the left arm and the left hand around your right arm. And really grip the elbows, none of this like weak grip, really grip them. Okay, now what you'll have here is about shoulder distance apart from one another, okay? Now, keeping the elbows right where they are, just rotate your hands so that they face forward, okay? Try and keep the hands right where they are, and then you're gonna just rise up, straighten out those arms. You can shimmy forward a little bit so that your shoulders are not behind your wrists, they're above your wrists, okay? Now spread your fingers wide and evenly, okay? Notice if there's one space that's a little bit lacking compared to the others. I know on my right hand, the space in between my middle finger and my ring finger is always less than the other. So sometimes I have to really intentionally move that finger wider so that it sort of matches the other spaces. Look at the V in between your middle finger and your pointer finger and try to have that V facing forward, okay? So this is one way in which you can place your hands. Now, another way in which you can place your hands, the V is gonna sort of aim outwards a little bit. So then I want you to look at your pointer finger And see if you can aim that pointer finger directly forward. That might take you a little bit wider than the cue I just gave you. Okay, so again, pointer fingers facing forwards. Okay. For some of you, this may feel really restricted. And so for some of you, you may even turn out from that a little bit more so that your pointer fingers are facing just ever so slightly forward and out. Okay. You decide, and you can always toggle between those three. So remember, V in between middle finger and pointer finger faces forward. Pointer fingers forward, or pointer fingers slightly facing out. Okay? Again, you can always play with all of those with all of those positions. So now from here, with your fingers spread wide and evenly, let's take a few rounds of cow and cat. We're going to incorporate the feet immediately. Inhale, lower the belly down, open up your chest and throat. Now curl your toes under so that the bottoms of your toes come on the floor. And then exhale, round your spine. Press the floor away, pull your belly button in, point your toes on your mat. Inhale, lower the belly down, open up the chest and throat, look forward. Exhale, round your spine. Now, as you're moving through these cows and cats, I want you to keep going, right? Keep syncing up with your breath. Notice if any part of the hand is lifting up. I want you to press through the bases of your fingers and through the fingers up to the fingertips. And then really especially press down the pointer finger and your thumb. Oftentimes that space tends to get lifted up. I want you to really seal that down, okay? One of my teachers, when that part of the hand is sort of lifted up and the fingers aren't spread out, she calls that a dead fish hand. So no dead fish hands today, okay? You're really gonna spread those fingers out. Remember, wide and evenly. Press down through your pointer finger and your thumb. Just two more right here, okay? Inhale, come into cow pose, curl your toes under. Exhale, come into cat pose, point your toes on your mat. And then from here, let's come into a tabletop position, okay? So come into your tabletop, walk your hands forward, one handprint, slide your shoulders forward so that we're in this long-ish tabletop. Look forward and down, and then breathe in. As you exhale, come into child's pose. Sit the hips back towards your heels, hinge at your hips. Breathe in, coming out to a longish tabletop. Look forward and down as you slide your chest forward. And then exhale, sit your hips back as you come towards child's pose. Two more just like that. Breathe in, breathe out. Continue to press down through your pointer finger and your thumb. One more time. Breathe in and breathe out. Now breathe in as you come on up to that longish tabletop. Just slide your hands back ever so slightly so that your shoulders are above your wrists. And then from here, let's go ahead and step one foot back so that that leg is extended, doesn't matter which one. And then go ahead and step your other foot back so that you're in a plank pose. So now we're starting to bear weight in our hands. Continue to press through your forefinger and your thumb and spread through your fingertips. Breathe in. Now listen, as you exhale, we're going to come into our first downward facing dog. So lift your hips up. You're going to hinge at the hips. It's similar to how the hips moved in child's pose, but now instead of aiming the hips towards the heels, you're aiming the hips up towards the sky. Okay. Try and find lots of length in your arms. Okay. Now in this position, I want you to look back at your feet. Your feet should be about hip width distance apart with your second toe facing forwards. So what I'd like you to do, everyone, walk your hands back to your feet, all the way back. Hands go back, back, back. This will give the hands a break too. Now, to find hip width distance, one method that I like to use is to bring not two of your fists like you have a million fists. Bring your fists together and place them in between your feet, okay? See if you can get the feet to touch the outsides of your fists, okay? That's about hip width distance. Now, when you come to downward facing dog, you can start here, but if you're feeling like you need to widen your feet, go ahead and widen them out, okay? And then what I want you to do is just look at your toes, right? This is a pretty good vantage point. You want to ensure that your second toe is pointing forwards, right? We all have different anatomy. All of our toes look a little bit different, right? Generally, to get the feet straight, looking at the second toe is a good indicator, okay? So second toe faces forward. That will line up with about the center of your ankle. Now, bring your hands back down to the floor, okay? So now we have the hand set up, now we have the feet set up. Walk your hands forward so that you come into a plank, all the way out into plank. This is how far your hands and feet are from one another. And then lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. If your knees need to bend a little bit, go ahead and bend them. And now that you feel this spacing in between your hands and feet, you feel how far your hands are away from one another, you feel how how far your feet are away from one another. Hold on, we're gonna do that part again, okay? So walk your hands back to your feet. Forward fold. Now, we're going to bring the feet hip-width distance apart from one another. So one way that I like to teach that is for you to bring your two fists right next to one another. Take your two fists and place them in between your feet, okay? So you can pretty much wedge the heels of your hands or wedge the blah, 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 blah. Hold on, we're gonna do that again. From your downward facing dog, walk your hands back to your feet. So now let's go ahead and set up the feet. In our downward facing dog, we want our feet to be hip-width distance apart from one another. So one way that we can do that is to bring your two fists together, place your fists on the floor, and then heel toe your feet inward so that your feet are right outside of your hands, the two fists. That's about hip-width distance. Now, you can take your hands out of there, and then I want you to look at your toes, right? This is a good vantage point for your toes. To ensure that your feet are going straight, I want you to look at your second toe. Try and see that your second toe is facing forward. That second toe should line up more or less with the middle of your ankle, okay? Remember, everyone's anatomy is a little bit different. Everyone's toes are a little bit different, and so you want to go by that second toe. It's a pretty good indicator, again, if the feet are going straight. Now, from here, now that we have that all set up, go ahead and place your hands back on the floor. You can bend your knees if you need to, and then walk yourself back out to a plank pose. Try to keep your feet this distance away from one another. Walk the hands all the way out to plank, all the way out to plank. Let the legs lengthen. Reset up those hands. Remember, you can have the V in between your pointer finger and middle finger going forward. You can have your pointer fingers going directly forward. You can go a little bit out from there, okay? Now, everyone, breathe in. Downward facing dog, breathe out. Hands and feet stay right where they are. Breathe into plank. Breathe out, downward facing dog. Again, plank is where the plank gives us good distance in between hands and feet. One more time, breathe into plank. Breathe out, downward facing dog. Now breathe in as you come on out to plank. Listen, lower your knees. Lower your belly all the way down to the ground. Point your toes on your mat now, and then slide your hands back so that your hands are right next to your lower ribs. Your elbows aim up and back. As you inhale, just lift the top of your chest from your sternum up to your collarbones up for a cobra. Now stay here for a few breaths. Again, feel where your hands are. Your hands aren't underneath your shoulders anymore, right? Your hands are back. Again, right next to your lower ribs. Take one more breath in. Exhale, lay your heart forward and down. Come up to tabletop. Come to plank. And then downward facing dog. Take your feet and walk them up to your hands now. Feet all the way up to your hands. Forward fold. Press your feet into the ground. Inhale, rise up to stand. Urdhva Hastasana, hands go up. And then as you exhale, bring your hands down to the floor. Take a deep breath in and a full breath out. You can close your eyes. Take one more breath. Just feel your hands, feel your feet. Bow your chin towards your heart. Bring your hands together now. You can seal up this class with one big breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Open up your eyes, lift your gaze, release your hands. Thank you so much for joining me today for this short video on your foundation. I hope you have a wonderful and grounded day. Bye.